Hello everybody, this is Marco from VGS, taking the lead from Vlad, who did a video about his part of the job. I'm doing a video on my part of the job, and we're working on a new game right now called Bruce Ali, which is a mix between Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali, and on that same take, the game also is a mix between two styles, which is basically a platform game and a fighting game, but it's not necessarily a final fight sort of game or a Streets of Rage. It's not going to play the same. It's gonna have a different gameplay, and hopefully it'll be a bit different from the usual street fighting or street scrolling fighting game. So I'm here to show you a couple of characters that I did, and hopefully, if you got any time, a little bit of levels as well. The thing is, I usually don't do this for Flash games because I haven't come across a project that demanded this. But one day I was actually pretty bored, and I started sketching out Bruce doing an uppercut on one of the characters, and this is the sketch. And I enjoyed how extreme the pose on Bruce actually is, how stretched out he is, and how ridiculous the other guy floating through the air is as well. So I decided to draw the main keyframes or the main poses for the animations, and that gave me a series of ideas for the enemies, how I would want the enemies to behave, how I would want them to fight, and that actually was quite helpful, and I've been having a lot of fun drawing these out. And so I'm just going to show you a couple of silhouettes. So obviously you're going to have the first enemy. In here it actually looks like kind of a kid, because I've made the head so big that it's ridiculous. In this case it's just big that it looks like a kid, but it's basically your typical kung fu student, and it's going to be filling the screen. You're going to fight him off. You know, it doesn't take much damage. You just punch him and he goes off, but it does take he does take do a bit of damage to the players. So if you let the screen fill up with them, then they can be very dangerous. The second character is like an extreme posing kind of guy. He jumps a lot. Well, it's the first character that can actually jump, and it can jump up buildings and off buildings to catch you. And he does all these extreme poses, like he's like a spear or like an arrow. It's very, very dangerous looking. This one is the chef. What this guy does is he has two butcher knives on him, and he will be throwing them from a distance, which makes him very, very hard. If you don't spot him right away, you're looking at a butcher knife on your head. And he also can cut you, or can slice when you're up close. So it makes for a kind of a hard enemy, and I'm probably going to have him as one of the bosses of one level. And this character has some really baggy pants, because he's not going to be jumping a lot. He's not going to be kicking, so I can just go ahead and have fun and do like some really stupid looking pants to make his silhouette really different from the other guys, because as you can see, that right now I'm trying to get them all to be very, very different, and that's the kind of thing that we try to strive, is that the player looks at them and they know exactly who they are and how they fight. And on the line of silhouettes, for example, this guy is just a big bulky silhouette, and that in a way to me transparent as a player that will be doing a lot of blocking, not a lot of dodging. It doesn't really he's not able to move as fast as someone that has to dodge a blow, but he can block them because he's big and fat and has a hard head and all. And on the same line as the second guy, you have the kind of the woman, the mistress or something. She's gonna be old and ugly, so you don't feel too bad about hitting her. I mean, it's wrong, but anyway. And she has like the fan, because the poses are very similar to the wushu guy. So basically what I did was added a bit of these details, like the things on the hair and the hand fan, so that it stands out a little more. Still, this is kind of a one moment pose, like she's jumping and kicking, and this is the guy basically crouching and sort of taking a rest before the next move. So these two will usually not be seen together, so you don't confuse them. Also, the colors on the characters will be very different from each other. This is probably my favorite character because it's a really old man. It's like a wise man, and this guy can fight. He has a flute, which increases his attack distance in like 2 times. It can strike when you're still not close enough to hit him. He can hit you, so that makes for a very hard character. It also uses the flute to block, and he can also hit you when you're really close. So all around, very hard character. And this is the sort of ideas that I came up while drawing, because I thought he has a flute. What would I do with the flute? You know, when you're drawing, you have to think of a pose to draw him in. And I thought that, yeah, he could be like swinging it very far away, or he could be using it to cover himself. So that kind of gave me the idea of having him both do blocks, long distance attacks, and close distance attacks. And the final guy, which not necessarily a boss, is the final enemy. The boss hasn't been completely fleshed out, so you won't be able to see him here. Is the forest guard. The game takes place in 3 settings. It's the village, then the factory, that's why the guy with the hard hat comes in, and then in the forest. And this guy has a spear, which makes him very, very dangerous at long distance. The solution will be to jump over him, you know, look for higher ground, or just get really close to him really fast, so you can't really counter attack. We're probably gonna have him do a kick or something just to push you in because you're too close. Otherwise, it'll be very vulnerable. But the point is to wait for him to get back on his balance. You know, when he does an attack, it takes time to get back on his balance. You use that time to get close and kick his ass, basically. And now I'm going to show you just a level that we have kind of sketched out. It's just a sketch. It has some rough coloring because I was kind of in the mood to do color. But every time you see this bee right here, that's Bruce, and the colors indicating the arrows and stuff, this is the enemies going towards him. So like this green Bruce has spawned this enemies, and this blue Bruce has spawned these blue enemies, and this green Bruce has spawned these green, and that one, and so forth. And this is just basically a preview of the level. You have 2 indicators here that look like Zelda icons. These will be like 2 different characters that come in on that point. And then you have the writing on the sky. You can't really tell because that's Portuguese, so unless you're a Portuguese reading person, you won't be able to figure those out. But and this is the first. This is probably going to be the first level, and this is the first moment where you get to use physics, which is you use this lever to drop some stuff on your enemies, and hopefully you'll get to learn how to do that before you're pressed into doing it, so that it becomes a little more fun. And just so you know what goes on in the drawing board before I get into this drawing, this is an example of a sketch for one of the levels, and this is just how much text I put into them, so I don't forget the ideas, because we're working on so many ideas for this game that we really have to keep aware. I'm going to just zoom in so you can see a bit more of the level. And basically this is just us going crazy on some of the details. This is a very illustrative explosion. This is part of some roughs from the characters, and down below we have the original drawing for one of the boss scenes or something like that. This isn't necessarily the best. Now here we go. This is like the boss scene. Everything is explained out here, how it's gonna go, whether or not, like these barrels right here, you can jump on them to avoid them, but after you took like half his life, he's gonna break them, so you have to jump over the boss, which is very hard. But that's all just ideas. We're gonna have to see whether or not we're gonna include them, whether or not they're funny and fun, and just to know, this is an explanation of one of the characters kicking a box onto the player, so you'll learn how that happens, and then later on you can do that to your enemy as well, so so you get a chance to revenge. And well, basically that's it. I hope you'd enjoyed this video, and I hope to be doing a lot more in the future. And take care. Bye.